Hi, this is John Paul from John Paul Music UK. If this is your first time here, my channel is all about music tech and looping. This is a series of videos delving into the brand new Looperboard from Headrush. So if you want to know when the next video goes live, subscribe to the channel and also click the bell so you don't miss anything.
So this time around, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the effects. Now, the way effects work on the Headrush Looperboard is per setting, so per memory. So if I've got our test one here that we did in another video, we've got the drums on here, we've got a couple of other ones on here, and we've got a bass here as well. Now I just use my voice for that, and what we can do is we can actually have a look at the effects rack. Now there's effects button here, or there's actually you can touch the touch screen there. So if you go into effects, this is the effects that I've set up for just this one patch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of them all. So we can get rid of them all and go yes, 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 and yes. So we can get rid of them. So we've got 4 racks that we can actually deal with. So if we go into the first one, what it does is it asks you what kind of effect it is. Now, you don't have to play by the rules here. Even though it says vocal effects, you could put a guitar effect on a microphone. You could put a drum effect on a guitar. There's a Studio One. I use the Studio One for acoustic guitar, but also for keyboards, as it shows there. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So we've got vocal effects, but it also asks you what preset you want to go for. So if I say vocal effects, there we go. Let's put a reverb on there instead. So I've actually saved one which I've lovingly called Barry White because it sounds really bassy. And we've got then there a close effect. Now it's saying which input is this effect coming from. That's really, really powerful because also you can affect the input or you can just affect the track. This makes the Looperboard incredibly powerful for effects because you can actually route the effects to wherever you want it to be. So I'm just going to show you the effects that we've got. So on vocal, we've got a couple of different effects. Please ignore the first one. I've set that one up as my own. And then we've got compression only, doubling, ducking. Let's go for the harmony. You've got a heavy effect, 2. We've got a high pass filter there, so 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, hello, hello, hello. As we can scroll through with our finger, you've got light double, 2, 1, 2. You've got light effects 1, 1, 2, So let's just pick one of these, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you close reverb, which is the very first one. So I'm going to pick that one, and then once I've picked it, I'm just going to click the X. That's it, and it's now set up for input 1 mono. It is on at the moment, and you can also see it's on because while we're in effects, these buttons here become the on-off switch for each one. So I'll turn it off. There we go. That's completely off, and as I turn it back on, you can see it's there. So the green light stays there because it knows that there is effect assigned to number 1. But then as we add it on, you can hear a little bit more compression. You can add a little bit more presence. So what we've got is we can click on there and change which one it is. So what we can do is we can go into the settings. Now, vocal effects have different settings than guitar effects, lo-fi, dub, drum, and studio. So they all have slightly different settings. So if we go into vocal, what we're presented with is the name of it, which is called close reverb. It is on at the moment. We've got a HP or gate, high pass, and gate there. So we've got the purple ones there, and this is where this jog wheel really comes into play because what we can do is we can start moving it around. You can use your finger if you want to and do it that way, but I actually prefer using this. It's a lot more accurate. And then we've also got the gate threshold, so as I bring this up, I'm sure it's going to cut out at some point. The next one along is pitch, and as I turn it on, you can see which ones are active. And as I turn the doubler on, we've got the doubler and how much is into the mix. There's a doubler there. So we can turn that on and off. Then we've got delay, which are these ones here. And delay is in like a green. Green. Then we've got reverb, which we've got there in yellow. We've got a bit of compression makeup. There we go. 2, 2, 2, 2, making that a lot louder. And then finally we've got EQ there as well, so you can change the EQ and the master volume. Now that's just for the vocal ones, so each colour represents each part of that. So let's come out of that now, and we'll change this to one of the guitar ones. So this is a guitar effect, but I'm using a vocal for it. That's fine. Let's do that. Let's go into there. And now you can see that the settings are all different. So we've now got wham, overdrive, wah, amp, mod, spring, and delay. So depending on what you want, you can actually have different sounds, different tones for different effects. So let's go into lo-fi. Let's have a look at that. So I'm just going to turn that off so you can hear me. But we've got LPF, vinyl, degrade, distort, para EQ, and delay. So what I would really recommend is having a look at the different effects that you have, and then you can change them how you want them. Right, let's bring that back to something where you can hear me. So we got Let's change that down. We've got different effects. We got drum. And we've got loads of different ones here. So hammer, for example. There you go. Quite a... You could use your vocal if you're doing beatboxing. Use one. The drum effects are quite nice, and you can then start really playing with like the transients or the EQ. So you can really set that in stone. And then you've also got the last one is studio. Now studio is quite nice. You've got a lot of different things for acoustic guitar, bass, piano, tremolos. You've got octave up, octave down. So just have a listen to this. Hello. And you can hear the different effects you've got. So you've got things like pitch, distortion, mod, delay. You can change what they do. So that's the effect system, and that is just one effect. Now, what we can do with that one effect is, as I said before, we can actually turn around and say whether that one effect is actually coming onto the input or the track. So with this test one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the one I've set up before, which is a vocal one, which is called Barry White. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on track 4. So what that means is that as I go back to my setup here, I created this. That's fine. So what I can now do is if I turn the effect on and we play it, so I can actually affect the loop afterwards if I want to, or what I could do is I could actually sing it in with the effect on and record it directly in. So that is effects on the Looperboard. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go into the global settings. So global settings has a nice couple of advantages. So first of all, it shows you the storage limit, so 7 hours and 38 minutes. That's amazing. Then we've got the general settings. So first of all, we've got start and stop all, whether you want it to return to the beginning of the loop or whether you want to pause. Some people might like this where it goes into pause mode. So as we start the loop, and then I stop it, you can see there it actually pauses. It doesn't return to the beginning of the loop. You might want that as an option. I actually prefer it to be returned. So when I hit stop, I can actually re-engage the loop straight away. So as I press stop, it goes right back and it kind of flicks back to the beginning. So then you've got after record, which has play or overdub. So it's quite self-explanatory. So after doing a recording and you hit it again, does it go into play mode or to go into overdub mode? I have mine set to overdub mode, so I can create harmonies very quickly and then just go straight into the next recording. Then after bounce, whether you want to delete or keep what was on the original tracks. You've got fixed mode recording, all fixed mode or solo it. You've got startup, and then on startup, what it's got is default setup to on start. Now, this is switched on when you get it out the box. I really recommend that you go into here and switch it off. What would happen is if you then switch the unit off and then switch it back on again, it will then erase everything that you have from your first patch. If you haven't saved the patch or memory, then it will basically put it back into default setup. So all these little bits you may have set up, it'll put it all back to normal. I would recommend to turn that off. That way all the settings that you've done will stay. Now you've got hold function. So the hold function on these two, so you've got basically record, play, overdub, and then stop and undo. So what do they do when you hold them down? So record, play, overdub on each one of these, actually you can do clear, completely clear it, or you can do peel. And then peel, obviously, well, it peels back each layer. Very useful. It means you don't have to go into function peel. You can just hold them down and it'll just peel the last one back. Or what you can do is you can do undo. Now the difference between peel and undo is that peel will peel peel each layer. Let's say I record 4 layers of harmonies. What Peel will do, I hit record, and then it just overdub, and then I hit stop. Now I've only done 2 button presses, but what I've done is I've recorded 4 layers of overdubs. So what Peel will do is it will take each individual one away, whereas undo will literally take them all away, or you can redo and put them back again. So you can do an undo redo, and then it'll do the last recording, which is when you very first press the button, very last press the button, or Peel will take each one away in turn. So you can actually say what the whole button does for each one of these 2, which is good. Effects edit page, basically the parameter columns is 3. Page 2, you've got your MIDI settings, so you've got your MIDI clock receive or your MIDI clock source, whether it's a looper board or whether it's a computer, MIDI through, on or off. You've also got your USB audio. So USB audio, you can obviously have this as your audio interface. So you've got a 4-channel audio interface that you can turn on. You can change the sample rate and the input level of it, and also which mode it is, whether this is live or whether it's going to be acting with a DAW. The third one is whether you've got phantom power on and off, the XLR ground lift, and also quarter output level, whether that's going to be a line or an amp. Now, whilst you're in global settings, you'll also notice there are still 3 little dots at the top right hand corner. If you tap that whilst you're in global settings, this is where you can do a USB transfer and also the firmware update as well.
This is a series of videos that I'm going to be releasing, so please look out for the next one, and I'll see you very, very soon.